Hello, everyone. It is Thursday. It is Thursday. Thank God we made it to Thursday. My goodness. Look, y'all see it is 12:21, right? Yes, I am a little behind. Those that know me know I'm not always on time, but here we are today. Hey Pat, how are you today, girl?
Hi, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Girl, it's been a trying time. It's been a trying time. But look, I am blessed. I will say that I'm blessed and I am still, the enemy can't get me down. I'm still here
Yes.
with my sis. We are still doing this Q&A with Bree and Pat that we do live every Tuesday and Thursday at 12-ish
Yes,
noon.
12-ish.
12-ish noon. So if y'all get on here and y'all be like, I thought they was doing a Q&A at noon. Yeah, we are. We are. I just sometimes it's technical difficulties and things like that. But hey, look, we're blessed to have you before us today. And I'm going to just tell y'all today is just we're just going to have some real conversation. Just conversation about some real life stuff. Real life things that we as veterans or leaders, people in leadership that we go through, right? I don't want it to be I just want this to be a real conversation. So if you come and you view this later, if you jump in with us now, please have a conversation with us. Put your comments in the box and let's talk about it. Let's be real about it because this topic right here is a real one. Okay, so just first of all, good afternoon, and I hope you are doing well. Okay, this is no politics, no controversy, just humanity. Because we live in this world, right? We live in a world where people are quick for to form an opinion, quick to criticize, quick to involve themselves in situations that they don't fully understand. So, what if before we judge someone, we just simply check in on them, right? What if we
Right.
just check in on people before we are quick to judge or you know
Make assumptions.
make assumptions on something you have no clue about. I'm going to say this about humanity to some of us, right? But some people don't even know that they suffer from mental health, right? But some people feel the need that they have to be involved in the top person and the top thing, where you can get you to involve yourself in situation and things that you don't fully have an awareness on, and implement yourself in that situation without knowing the full thing. For instance, right, family, Pat. You have a big family. You have
Yes, I do.
you are the seventh of seven of
Yes.
six, right? Me, I have a big family. Daddy was a Rolling Stone, so I don't have. I have my half brothers and sisters, which they are. I don't per se didn't grow up with a big family, but I have a big family, if that makes sense. So I know how it can be. Now a plethora of cousins. Now my cousins, I know you got big family like that, right? Because if it's seven of y'all, how many children
Oh,
did y'all
yes. It's a lot.
siblings
A
did
lot
your
of
mom
cousins.
and dad have?
My mom and dad s- had 7. Well, my mom was
Siblings
married
as well?
twice. My mom was married twice. My dad was her second marriage. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So big family. But
Yep.
your cousins is like your first best friends, right?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
how it is in every family. And I will speak for myself to say, I do have a huge family on my mom and my dad's side. But when we go into the military, I must say that I've lost connection with a lot of the family members. But since being retired, I've tried to come back in and to the family and hey, how's everybody doing? What's going on? Like, hey, I'm back,
Yep.
and build that relationship with them. And a lot of times we always say at every family gathering or every funeral, what we always say, we got to keep in touch.
Keep it in touch.
Got to
Yep.
keep in touch. We ain't seen each other since I don't know how long, right?
Yep.
And it's like, why do we wait until we see each other to say that we need to stay connected. So,
Or wait until something happens, a tragedy happens, and then we need to stay in touch.
yeah, and then we need to stay in touch. But the whole meantime, we are on the outside and we look in at other people in the family, things that's going on, and we so quick to judge on what's going on that side. What's going on that side before we just say, hey, what's going on, what's happening, like this. That's the reason for staying in touch with family members that you can stay in touch with. Okay, I'm not going to say for those that you can't deal with, put them to the side, Pat. Put them to the side. We have that saying, because all family ain't family. Family is those who think and they act as you do, right? And those who are not are simply just people that you don't have no choice but to just, like, God, you didn't ask God for them, right? Look, so they just are where they are. But I would say that we need to ask, instead of assuming, we need to ask, like, how are you? What you've been up to. Because you never know what someone is carrying. Okay.
Exactly.
You never know what somebody is carrying. Again, mental health, you don't have to be just a veteran to suffer from PTSD, some mental health issues. And you will see, some people will see family members struggling with mental health or whatever, and then just don't say anything, just laugh, talk about them, make all kinds of assumptions, right? But you don't know what someone is fighting what they're fighting. Some people are fighting and smiling while they're grieving.
Exactly. They're fighting and struggling, but they still have a smile on their face.
Yeah, we do that. Some people are still leading while they are exhausted. They're exhausted. But some of us have the tendency to judge, assume, talk about, laugh, insert themselves in something before you get the whole story. Right. Yeah. So I'm just gonna say that, if like me and you, we're battle buddies, we're military sisters, right? We don't talk. We don't talk. Well, now we talk all the time, right?
Yes.
So what do we used to do? Hey, sis, how you doing?
We used to check in.
Just a little check in, just to say, hey, what's going on? Nothing. It's nothing wrong with out here. I some people in my immediate family does this often. Well, I ain't going to reach out because I ain't talked to that person in a long time, or I haven't done this in a long time. If you're a person that has genuine love and care for humanity, for me, it does not matter how long. I still have military sisters and military family, and for they know that I love them, and family. I don't have to call constantly, but they know that when I do call, we pick right back up.
Exactly.
Like we never left off, right? And like, hey, and how are you? What's been going on? Let's catch up. But they also know that if you need me, you can contact me immediately, and I'm there at the drop of a dime, right?
Yeah.
Which is
sometimes people get caught up in life.
Yeah.
And we all have things that we're dealing with and we're going through or whatever. And sometimes we just let those connections fall by the wayside. And sometimes then when something tragic happens or a situation happens, everybody has an opinion about it because it goes through the family. Everybody has an opinion on it, right? And very few people take the time to say, look, let me reach out to this person and see what's going on, see if everything is okay. Because, I want to make sure that person is good,
Yeah.
And people don't do that. And that kind of ties into what we talked about on Tuesday about they see a person as a strong person. So sometimes they don't see a need to check in on that person, because in their mind, every time they see that person is good.
Yeah.
or that person doesn't complain or really talk about um what they might be going through.
Right. That is so right. Um, there we talked about people being strong, and they still, because they're going through their own silent battle, they're still struggling with their own. So we did talk about that, how people can still be struggling with their own mental health challenges, and you won't even know. Mental health challenges are not always visible. That's why compassion matters. Compassion really matters with things. And one thing I'm going to say about this too is, not only, but I grew up, the way I was raised, I was always taught respect, right? Respect.
Yes.
Respect for me is a number one. It's the biggest thing, I will say, that controls me. So one thing, if you're in your family, okay, I was taught to respect the seniors now, or if you were older than me or whatever, but respect goes both ways. Right? So, I will say, in family, you have to check on each other. And that, again, military family, family, you still have to check in and
Right.
say, how you doing, uncle, cousin, sister, mother, brother? How you been? What's going on in your life? How can I help you? And then they might just say nothing or fine, but at least give them that opportunity to
Yep.
say nothing, everything is fine. Again, you can only help so much, right? And if you can't, then at least you tried. So checking in on your battle buddy in the military or family, we learn, right? We learn to look out for one another. That's how we were taught in the military. We look out for one another. That
Right.
principle shouldn't end when we take the uniform off. Who is your battle buddy today?
Right.
Pat?
And have you checked in and have you checked in on that battle buddy?
Mm,
To make sure that they were good. Those are key important things. I mean, it's just like friends that are like family,
yes.
everything. It's important to check in and make sure that you're good. I was mentioning on Tuesday, like my sister, she'll check in on me. She's my older sister. She's like, how you feeling? You okay? You good? You know what I mean? If she doesn't hear from me, look, what you was doing yesterday. I hadn't talked to you yesterday. you
Right.
and she's checking in on me to make sure that I'm okay, you
Yeah.
know. And I really appreciate that. And I do the same for her, check in on her or whatever. You check in on each other. We're not always perfect about it or the best way about it, but we need to try to make that, especially as we get older, if people going through medical situations or circumstances, with times just being hard as they are, honestly, right now.
Right. Right.
Checking in on each other is very important.
And you don't have to check in with needing something. You can just check in.
Check in to talk.
That's
How you
it.
doing? How's your day going? You got a lot going on today, what you been up to? You got plans for the weekend? It doesn't have to be anything heavy. You know what I mean? It just has to be a simple,
Look,
what you up to?
you don't even have to have a conversation. Sometimes it's just a text message
A text message, yes.
yeah, I'm thinking about you, I'm just thinking about you. Love you, heart emoji. Those little things can make a
Exactly.
difference.
Yeah, especially if somebody's going through or somebody's not feeling their best or whatever, to let them know that, and you're not going to always know when somebody's going through it, if they're sick and they don't feel well. You're not going to always know, especially in a big family, because everybody's not going to let you know. But sometimes you reach out and, something, say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to send them this text message, see how they doing. Send it. Don't not send it. If you're ever pulled to send that text message, that emoji or whatever, check in on that person. Like you said, it doesn't have to be a conversation. If you're at work and you say, well, if somebody crosses your mind, just send them a heart emoji. Just send them a text thinking about you. I pray that you have a blessed day. I hope your day is going well. you know, just something like that. It doesn't have to be anything big because it's the thought that counts. It's not, you know, empty conversation that doesn't mean anything, you know, is not going to be as meaningful as just letting you know, out you were in my thoughts. I was thinking about you. I was just wanted to check in.
Yeah. When you just do that, you know, don't add to someone else's burden. You know, words matter, assumptions matter, you know, especially if you haven't checked in with somebody for a long time. Assumptions and gossip, criticism, even if you don't know someone's story, be careful not to become another weight that they're carrying, okay? Before speaking, ask yourself, am I helping or am I hurting the situation? And I'm going to
Yeah.
make this as a broad conversation when it comes to family. Um, if you know that you have not seen, heard, or, you know, even checked on, you know, some family now, in this generation, Pat, I'm gonna just say this, and this is my real conversation right here. The young generation that I see sometime, I'm saddened by it. I'm saddened by it and I'm disturbed by it, is the reason why I thought that this conversation, because I know I'm not the only one who sees the youth. Now, some of our youth out there, I will say, is doing great things. You know, graduating college. You know, let's talk about those. Now, even I will say, even the people in the hood. You know, some people want to get out the hood and do great things. You know what I'm saying? Some of them don't get caught up in the system in that whirlwind. Some of them have been, you know, just raised in certain situations where their outcome is different. And I will say what I see about this young generation, where their compassion and respect is lost, Pat.
Yes, it's very minimal.
It's
It's minimal.
lost. And you know what, I am in the season. I want to let my audience and my viewers know, right? I am in the season of no more. No
Right.
more. Something has to be said. Sometimes we just sit and we don't say anything, or we don't guide the generations to say, hey, look, okay, let's sit down and have a conversation. Why are you so angry? You know why some people are so angry? Because they don't have the knowledge, or they don't know what's been going on for whatever reason. Life be life,
Right.
you know, that they don't have. But there's a point in time, like now, when I see the young generation, or they're just, you know, out there and they're just wilding out, I'm going to be that person to sit and be that voice of reason, that voice of, hey, let's think about this. You know, you're disgruntled over whatever, or you have something going on, and let's talk about it first. And if we can't have a sensible conversation, then that's when I just know to say, okay, I'll leave it alone. But what you're not going to do is be disrespectful when you
Disrespectful.
haven't even checked on the family member that you're so
You're
disgruntled.
making assumptions about and that you're upset at, and you haven't even talked to even really be upset at the person. You couldn't even tell anybody why you were really upset
Yeah.
um
And
at the person. And it's like, what are you talking about? And the other person is totally clueless. One
yeah.
of the new thing that the young adults and people have is, well, I'm going no contact because my family is toxic. And I think about that when they say that. I've seen that online, you know, people talk about no contact. And I'm wondering, is the family toxic, or is that a
What is
toxic
it
way?
you?
Are you the one toxic? Because it sounds very toxic to say go no contact,
Look,
because that just means that you're not willing to put forth the effort to heal that relationship and do what it takes to improve that relationship, or to really find out what's going on in that relationship.
right,
um
right,
a
right.
lot of times, now I'm not talking about any really drastic relationship where you're getting abused or anything like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about, regular conversations, disagreements and stuff of that nature, right?
Hmm.
People like, I'm going no contact. They'll go because somebody didn't do what they wanted them to do. Somebody didn't agree with them. Then they're called the catchword is everything is toxic. Well, if everything in your life is toxic, the only thing that's constant in your life is you. So is it you that are toxic, or is it everybody else that is toxic? There's no way everybody but you's toxic, you know?
It just don't, and you know what I've learned too, that you can, because I just been in the mental health field for so long, you can almost recognize people that have mental health issues. It's like then you start to realize that something wrong with you. Just something is wrong with you. But here is what I choose: compassion over assumption. You know, before I sit and I assume on what's going on in somebody's life, I will try to meet you with compassion first. And then this is what I want our audience to know too, is once you have done all you can and you keep putting your heart out there, you keep putting your heart out there, you keep putting your care and concern, leave the individual alone. And that's what I want to say. Leave the individual alone. Pray for them. Try to say, do what you can to point them in the direction of help. you know, um, Instead, just choosing compassion over assumption is assuming someone, let's just say assuming somebody is rude. Maybe they're just overwhelmed.
Maybe
Right?
they're just tired. Maybe they've been working hard and and they had a lot going on that day, and it's just one of those days, you know.
Yeah. Look, maybe a lot of people assume like, you know, um, they're distant, they don't talk, or the scenarios that we have
Yeah.
of why people don't reach out. Maybe they're struggling, so instead of assuming and that they don't care, reach out. But it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things in play for if when families say that they're going to reach out or things are going on, you don't know what's going on in their life, and it doesn't have to be a thing. I will say for me, like, I have the loving heart that I have, that I try to reach out to everybody. And sometimes that gets exhausting because it's like, it's so many of y'all to reach out to. And, I'm the one who sends out the little texts and this, and, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted, but I'm always trying to be the glue, the compassionate one, the one who reach out just to show everybody I care. And sometimes even I'll just sit back and just, from being overwhelmed of always reaching out to thousands, Pat. Notice I said thousands, and that's real talk. That's a lot of people to try to reach out to, family, friends,
Yeah.
just
That's overwhelming and exhausting and tired. And sometimes you just like, look, I just can't. I'm
yeah,
just tired. I need some me time. And the
yeah,
minute you stop, people like, what's wrong with her? They're making assumptions. How about we just not make assumptions?
yeah,
Instead of making assumptions, we ask questions.
yeah.
And
Compassion
we
doesn't require us to know every single
everything
detail,
exactly.
what's going on. But I believe that the minute ignorance, and this is talking, it could be family, friends. We just had this conversation about friends, right? Before we just jump to ignorance, I think the first thing should be is compassion.
Yes. Compassion. You should always think about that somebody could be going through something that you're not aware of.
Yeah.
And then you get on the phone and you start lighting them up because of what Uncle Bill told you that Jenny said, you know, about a situation. And now you on the phone and you blasting somebody for something, and you don't even know what's really going on.
What's really going on? But you know what? What makes me laugh is some people insert themselves in other people's stuff, and they can't even clean up their own house.
What's the song? Sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around mine.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. But see, this is what why I say we need to remember, right? That it simply to remember that every person has a story. Everybody is going through something. Things may be going on that, if you're not checking in every day on somebody, before you assume that person has other family or other people that probably are, you know, helping them or seeking,
Right.
whatever. We just can't assume. This is why you check on people. I want to ask the audience, when the last time someone just checked on you just to see how you're doing? Or when is the last time you have reached out to check on someone else?
Right.
Okay, I want to ask that question. I asked that question because like I said, there are a lot of people that I'd be like, especially people I've served with. And, that's the reason for my platforms too, when it comes to my personal platforms. I keep Facebook solely because of the people that I know all over the globe. And I got people as far back as Germany, family that I call family, people that live in Germany, from Germany, that I communicate with. I'm telling you, family in Trinidad. I got people all over the globe that I keep my Facebook for, to say, man, I just want to know how they're doing. Or the soldiers that I love with all my heart and soul. I still, how many kids they got, grandkids they got, and I'm just like, oh, I go in there, and I'm sure that some of our veterans, and Pat yourself know
Yes.
that, I still have when we were in high school, we wasn't even elementary, like middle school. I still have a middle school friend that I keep up with. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so much. Or maybe, people or something happening. It's like, you can't expect everybody to get the phone call when something happens to say, like when something happened to me. My husband he said, I ain't got no time to be calling all these people. I just, he don't have no time to be calling everybody. So not that, I see sometimes people just put on Facebook, hey, prayers for so-and-so.
Right.
Then here come the flood of calls,
Right.
But, just before all that happens, it's like, when the last time have you checked? When the last time have you checked on someone before all of that gets to a certain place to say, how you doing? I want my audience to really think about that. And before you judge, because then it's when something happens, then what's the gossip happens. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
It all starts after that. Yeah.
After that, here come the gossip. When something happened to somebody, oh yeah, Cora Jean, she was sitting over there a long time. Ain't nobody blah blah blah. Ain't nobody getting that.
Here it comes, and nobody wants to hear that mess.
Where were you prior to all of this?
Right. Like they say, when giving somebody their flowers after they passed on, they can't see those flowers. It's useless.
Yeah.
Your kind words are falling on deaf ears.
Mm-hmm.
You should give people their flowers while they're alive. You should check in on people while they're alive, because once they've passed on, it's like there's no need for you to say anything, because it means nothing, because the person that you are trying to say it to, they don't hear you.
Yeah, they don't.
They can't reply to that. That's why if you love and care about somebody, let them know that you love and care about them. We all are going through something. We have ebbs and flows in our lives. Sometimes, okay, everything's really good. It's not that rocking. And sometimes it seems like it can't get can I just get a break?
Yeah.
Can I get a breather? It seems like everything is slamming into you all at once, and you never know what season that person is in, and they might have just had a hard day that day between work and life and feeling, just maybe not even feeling well physically and mentally, emotionally, just had a lot going on, and they might just be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So if that person might be a little shorter, a little snappy, instead of thinking, oh, they just got attitude, step back and think, okay, maybe they had a hard day. So don't be another issue that they have to deal with.
Right.
Don't be another problem they have to solve. Don't add to somebody else's plate when their plate is already overflowing.
Right. You're right. You're so right, Pat. And then along with that, is when someone is dealing with mental health issues, meet them where they are. Meet them where they stand. Don't, you can't, there's certain ways, especially for us that's dealing with PTSD or serious other mental health issues. You just can't go in Rambo. You can't, I'm a just, you can't go in there. Again, the word of the week, people, is compassion. Compassion with those who suffer from mental health.
Compassion with just other human beings.
Yeah.
Just having the respect of human beings. Nobody cares about what race, creed, or color you are, or your sex, or nobody. Who cares?
Yeah.
You're a human being.
Oh,
Let's
God.
just have compassion for the human race and for people in general. Let's just have respect for each other as human beings. Why can't we just do that? Lay down everything else, because guess what? How much money you make, what kind of car you drive, the color of your skin, what language you speak, where you were born, none of that matters, because first you're a human being. So why don't we just take the time to look at each other as human beings that might be going through human being stuff?
Yes.
Whether you're male, female, black, white, blue, green, orange, who cares? That's not an issue.
Right. How can we create a culture where it's okay to ask for help?
Right. And people honestly ask the questions, how are you doing today? Not just something that's nice to say that they really don't want to hear the response to. Just have compassion for human beings, for people that you see, whether you're in the store. Just be compassionate, be considerate, be respectful.
Oh my goodness, that's the one thing.
Other people.
Just respect, especially again, respect. Look, I'm going to say that's in the compassion and respect. Okay, the young generation has no respect. And it's just like it's just running wild where they just let them be just so disrespectful. When maybe they're trying to help in a situation, but the help is more hurtful, than it is, being let's just say being prosperous. Young people just, it's crazy some of the things I have witnessed here over this time. And that's why I'm always trying to bridge the gap between the young generation, the older generation. Like some people just want to be the head of something that they don't know how to handle. I really look up to my seniors. I don't care who it is, because why?
Oh, yes.
They have the knowledge. They already been there, done that. They're doing something. So I want to lead. I want to follow their lead, especially if they're leading by example. You know what I'm saying? And
we can always learn from each other. But at the end of the day, the people that have been here the longest and experiences and endured certain specific things, you're just not. I mean, you need to sit down and pay attention, gain that knowledge from those people. Mm-hmm. Instead of just, that was back in your times, everything works in a cycle, and it just repeats itself. The cover and the glitter and the glam might look differently, but it's the same old soup warmed over. Yeah, it doesn't change. How you deal with people doesn't change. How you treat people doesn't change. Having the skill to listen and shut your mouth and be quiet and gain some understanding doesn't change. It doesn't matter what generation it's in.
Yep, that's right. So I want to ask, what does being a good battle buddy look like after military service? I want to ask my audience that. What does a good battle buddy look like after the military service? Not just our veterans, but my active service members. I want to ask those who are in family, what does being a good family member look like? What does that look like to you? Please write it in the comments. Okay. Resources. If you know someone who is struggling, please don't carry it alone. For our veterans, we always tell you that the Veterans Crisis Call text line is 988, and then you press 1. Look, I'm transparent. I love being transparent. You see myself, you'll see Pat. We are. Look, I was on the verge of calling 988 this week. I'm just like, I want you to know, I don't tell anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do. You have, as a veteran with PTSD and the many things that I suffer from, one thing that I know is that I am a woman of God who loves God and who loves God's people. But it's only so much, right, that the human person can take. Am I right?
Yes.
So after a while, you get to a place like, okay, if talking it out with a friend or talking it out with somebody is not working, I am going to call 988 or look, I got my therapist on speed dial, y'all. I have my therapist on speed dial, like, help me, because it don't look good right now. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot to push me to that moment, but I do know that there are resources that are out there for me. We all have a choice. We all have a choice.
Exactly.
I want most of us, all of us out here, to know that before you make a decision, before you judge, either check in with that person and police up your own mental health. And if you are just one of them, if you ever run into people that can't be helped, then look, prayer is the biggest thing that you can do. Yep. You can't do nothing else. And that's what I have learned, because I know some real people who have real mental health issues. And you know what I say? I pray for them. Just let them stay in their lane, Jesus. I pray that they stay over there, because don't mix your mental health with my mental health. That ain't going to work. So look, you can always call your local vet center. What is some other resources we put out there? Mental health services. Again, you don't have to be a veteran. Get with your primary
community. Check with your church for counselors to see if they have counselors at your church. You can check with any community center, community mental health center in your neighborhood. And if you don't know where to go, if you have a friend confide that you trust, talk to a friend.
Yes.
Maybe they can help and assist you in finding somewhere to go, or they can help take you, or they can go with you if you want somebody to go with you, on your first appointment. But you're not alone.
Yeah.
Self-isolation is not the answer.
That's right. And remember, if you're supporting someone with mental health, remember that listening and encouraging them to seek professional help when needed, and simply just being present can make a meaningful difference. Okay, a meaningful difference. Sometimes people who are suffering with mental health issues, you have to handle them in a certain way to even get them to lead to realize, like, yeah, I may need help. You can't just force anybody with aggression that's going through mental health. Lead with compassion. Again, lead with compassion. Sometimes just meeting them where they are, just simply meeting them where they are, makes a difference. With that, just sitting down talking, or sitting down not saying anything at all goes a long way. And I'll leave you with this, good people. People will remember how you made them feel long after they forgot what you said. So before you judge, before you criticize, before you assume, check in. One conversation could remind someone that they are not alone. So from service to significance, breaking cycles and building legacies is all I'm ever going to be about, and what B3U is going to be about. I thank you all for joining me and Pat today, y'all. I needed this conversation more than y'all know. And I appreciate this conversation. Pat, I appreciate you for always being in my corner, my top dog in the corner, and having this conversation with me. And I thank all you for your comments, your criticism, whatever you're going to say. I appreciate it all. Love you guys, and see y'all all on the other side.
See y'all next week.
Yeah. Have a good weekend.
Yes.
All right, Pat. See y'all later.